start with it tonight. We should have started with it last night or last week when we're dealing with these kind of topics and whatnot. So if you could bow your head, and if you're not in any way, if this isn't your jam, just please, hold tight. We'll be right there. It's some beautiful words, and I'm sure you could bow your head and enjoy them. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything to stand, stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with the feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, which you can extinguish all flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. And pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the Lord's people. So we're going to get started, guys. I really wanted to read that to start off. We're going to do a little bit of backtracking and explain a little further. So if you were here, this information needs repetition, especially with the letters and numbers. And I'm trying to up the chances on you guys remembering these numbers. And we'll start giving you some ideas tonight on if you're interested in trying to remember some of the numbers or whatnot, the easiest ways to. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over the 4 base ciphers, because what we're doing is we are connecting the dots between the languages, the letters and numbers, and the date numerologies. The timing is everything to these people. They're worshiping Saturn, which in Greek mythology was Kronos, father of time. Okay. And so everything is about timing, and you're going to see that again tonight. We're going to run it one more time and show you the numbers before we get into all the new symbolism that we found. And so in our first basic cipher, call it simple gematria, otherwise English ordinal, is where it's the letters are encoded with numbers. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, all the way till Z is 26. Okay. And that is our first cipher that we're going to cover. And that is the cipher where Saturn equals 93. Okay. And we're going to keep on. Now we have our full reduction, our second of our 4 base ciphers. And full reduction is Pythagorean gematria, otherwise known, but it uses the rules of numerology. So A is 1, B is 2. And when you get to J, the 10th letter, you use reduction. 1 plus 0 is 1. The 11th letter, K, you would do 1 plus 1 equals 2, all the way till Z is 8. You won't have any double-digit numbers when you're reducing to a single digit. So our third base cipher is reverse ordinal. Now, this is simple gematria with the alphabet reversed. So Z is 1, Y is 2, X is 3, W is 4, all the way till A is 26. Okay. And our fourth base cipher is reverse full reduction. It's the Pythagorean gematria with the alphabet in reverse. Z is 1, Y is 2. When you get to the 10th letter in reverse, which is our favorite letter, Q, you add 1 plus 0. P, the 11th letter, 1 plus 1 equals 2, all the way till A is 8. And now there's many other ciphers. You have satanic. You have the 3 Kabbalah ones that Crowley chant when he was channeling the demons for the Book of the Law and whatnot. He, they were channeled in gematria. So he has three ciphers. There's the Francis Bacon cipher, which uses capital letters. So you could have A is capital A is one, or lowercase a is one, capital A is two, lowercase b is three, capital B is four. Okay, so there's different ciphers. This is used for communication. There's even Jewish gematria, which is just the Latin alphabet. It's a big Jewish practice when we're talking about the Kabbalah and the Talmud. Okay, it's now, of course, it didn't originate there. They've just been holding on to the knowledge, and I'm not faulting them at all, but we're just talking about who uses it. There's even a Chaldean cipher we found that Nancy Pelosi likes to use. There's so much. So again, we're talking about the date numerology and the letters and the numbers aligning. And on this day that this Travis Scott catastrophe happened, which was 11/5, but in most parts of the world, it's written 5/11. And in Jewish gematria, Saturn equals 511. So that's how I was tipped off. Like right away, I was like, not a good day. Boom. Next alignment was the day of the year, the 309th day of the year. And you should know by now, they're called Cult 93. That's how we reference them. Okay. Remember the Q drops. The cult runs the world. The head of the cult's the Rothschilds, the church, and P. Okay. And so I see that alignment. I see 56, and then I see 4 weeks and 2 days to the total solar eclipse. And Saturn also equals 42. Okay. And in that picture, you'll see Saturn from left to right equals 93, 21, 42, and 511. Now, that's the way I would recommend learning and that has the Jewish cipher. That one's missing reverse, but it's easier to learn the numbers in like a flashcard style of 4 base ciphers. So when we look now, next thing I notice, oh my goodness, we have exact date numerology as the total solar eclipse. So this event just solidified the other 19 GemComms that we were talking about, the total solar eclipse. And then you had the Alec Baldwin murders Helena Hutchinson event. Okay. Wasn't even a shooting scene, but the one woman that was born in Antarctica on the set is dead. And this total solar eclipse goes over Antarctica. And we're going to show, and I should have brought a picture of it, and maybe Pete can look for it, but the total solar eclipse that happens on 4/8/24. And the reason I remember that is because Kobe Bryant was a total solar eclipse. Remember, 4/8/24. That's the next big total solar eclipse after this one that happens in Antarctica. And guess what? It goes right over Houston, Texas. So, he even had the gall to put on his poster a total solar eclipse, which we're going to get to. It's just in a weird order tonight, guys. It's so much information we've found and discovered to bring to you tonight that it's pretty exciting. But remember, I'm just trying to show you my thought process, show you the dots that I've connected, and also we'll go over some dot connections from Serial Brain 2 tonight that I've brought in to just reiterate what we're working with and talking about. And remember, we have Bill Cooper saying that the Freemasons encoded everything in the architecture, and what's not encoded in the architecture is encoded in these letters and numbers. Even all the way, he was quoted saying, if you do not know the ancient mystery religions and gematria, you will never understand the Bible, not in a million years. So for all those who love the Bible, we need people to go through the Bible. Like, this is big time stuff. Like, if I could motivate one person that wants to dig through the Bible, it would be the biggest accomplishment I could make to really find out the truth. And we're learning some of the truths. We're learning why Mary was left out of the Bible, and how, we'll talk about that later, about how they want you to look up to a Jenner or Kardashian, and they don't want the little girls understanding Mary, and why the ancient mystery religions left her out the Bible, because she's the perfect example, okay, and the mother of Christ. Okay, it just, how could she be left out the Bible if it was not for these ancient mystery religions not wanting the information to go further, and for all of us to strive to be like her, it's, so we will continue, guys. Now, this next one, and again, it was 56 days before we go on. There was 56 days in the year, and all seeing eye equals 56. Society of Jesus is 56. Washington, D.C. is 56. Okay, you remember, this Washington, D.C. was Rome, Maryland, right? And we're draining the swamp. So let's continue on the, now this had happened in 2019, with a stampede, the same deal. People didn't die. There was only 3 injuries, but there's just so happened it was exactly 156 weeks from the one that happened in 2019. And 9/11 is the 156 prime. And as above, so below equals 156, 666 equals 156. And there was 1,092 days, just like 93. You add the 1 to the 92 and get 93. They bank that you will not connect the dots. That's why they use the number 149. 1 minus 4 is 3, and then you 9, 93. They do not care backwards or forwards. If that's one thing, you have to have the courage. They've tried to bred the courage out of us, but if you were here tonight, you have courage. And if you're trying to expand your mind to understand how these ancient mystery religions work, to further your life, like, hats off to you. You have courage, and thank you for being here. And we're going to talk now. This is the flyer. Will you be at the mountain? And when you look at the symbolism, the flower on this paper that you see on the other side of the poster is called Rafflesia arnoldi, and is described as smelling like decaying flesh. Okay, this is broadcasting. They do not fear you. They know we are not equipped to read symbolism. Our colleges aren't teaching it. Our high schools aren't teaching it. They're teaching this in the secret societies, okay? But this is huge symbolism. This is foretelling, fortune telling, okay? That there was going to be decaying flesh. See you on the other side, okay? Remember, there's no coincidences when it comes to this, and we're going to show you the poster a little later on, with the total solar eclipse on it, but just the information is going to be a little scattered on we're going to go from numbers to symbolism to numbers. Now, if Pete could drop this in, this was something I had made up for you guys, because I had got some feedback after last week on how it is to remember the numbers. This is just a little list of some of the main numbers that we're looking at. Of course, it don't have the as above, so below, or the order out of chaos, and there's so much. This is just a little thing you can do. Now, when you're trying to remember the 4 base ciphers from left to right, English ordinal, full reduction, reverse ordinal to reverse full reduction, you might have an easier time screenshotting the 4 base ciphers and the word, and just memorizing them left to right, if that's something you're interested in. So it's more of a flashcard approach than just all the, every one of their titles and all the numbers to the right. So I just wanted to drop that in. If you want to keep it around for tonight, it'll help refresh your memory. You'll see, we've talked about 42, Freemasons 42, Saturn's 42, Jesuits 42, because it was 4 weeks and 2 days. Remember, the N word with the hard R is a 42. Jackie Robinson, number 42. There's many, like, Martin lived in apartment number 42. It's the way they mark them without, insulting them right to their face. It's remember the lady who was the opera singer in Mississippi got a 42-minute standing ovation. It's mocking us. Then it's how it unfortunately it's how it works with they are the racists. That's what they project onto us. And now what was going on we covered last week, we covered the vibrations, the music, the thoughts, the emotions, how it's is to bring in demons for possession. Okay, it's that's what was going on. This was a satanic total solar eclipse sacrifice. But we're also going to get in tonight, why would Stormy, his daughter, be there, and Kylie Jenner, who was 6 months pregnant? Okay. And there's something called Moonchild, and it was written by Aleister Crowley. We're going to catch it at the end, but it's really interesting how we've wind up with a Luna baby from the Chrissy Teigen and John Legend. And we're going to cover how Barbara Bush is a Moonchild. Where this is rituals from Aleister Crowley. I mean, he actually wrote a book with the Moonchild. So we had covered that, but we'll read it tonight just so if you hear it again, like this information needs to be repeated so you can talk to other people about it. This is a huge awakening event. They really showed their cards on this. I mean, the inverted stage. We're going to get into some more later on tonight, but with, why was bodies being passed over the crowd and he kept singing? Why did he keep singing for 37 minutes after the first death? Okay, you're about to find out. Entities trapped in the demonic dimension have found ways to manifest in the human dimension through their own physical shape or by partially or completely possessing the shape of a host. This interdimensional travel is done through gates or portals that are opened by activating the vibrations corresponding to their nature. So remember his shirt. His shirt had the process on it. This is how blatant they were. His shirt showed the blue man going into the portal and coming out in flames and with horns. Okay. This these vibrations are the result of the collective vibrational state, thoughts, emotions, music, songs, or the activation of targeted frequencies through rituals. To these demonic entities, blood is like the sea water through which they travel and through which they nourish themselves to be able to live in our dimension. So they feed on it. The vibrational state of the blood at its time of collection determines the demonic hierarchy eligible for using it. Bread for the peasants, caviar for the nobility. So the more torture, terror, right frequency, fear, okay, the higher level demon can come through to possess, and that's what was happening. They were bringing demons through this process, and not to make attachments. And unfortunately, we're going to talk about tonight that it wasn't just for some of the people in the crowd. This is more likely some for his own daughter and an in utero baby. We will show tonight at the end where you will have a time to dip out if you need. We will show the Monarch programming and how we're talking about trauma-based mind control, and it starts in utero. Okay. So Adrenochrome, that's what we're talking about. Adrenalized blood is where the information of the vibrational state is stored. Magicians use this knowledge to be willingly possessed and mutate progressively until their human soul departs from their biology for further collection and is replaced by a demonic entity. This is how they will import the Antichrist in our realm when he's ready. For now, his followers are feeding him with blood as we are singing their songs. They are using us, using the fear, using the vibration, using the excitement of the concert. Okay, the whole nine, feeding on the energy, just like they did for the Superb Owl every year. Remember, the people that do the halftime show for the Super Bowl are not paid. Okay, they're not just doing things for free. They're doing a mass ritual, and the symbolism, and even the Olympics, it was out there for the world to see. The symbolism of the opening of the Olympics was intense. Okay, now we have let's see. I want to get in and talk about that. P, you might have to follow me on this. You might really have to. I'm sorry about this. But, oh, okay. I want to get it. It's right there. All right, guys. Now, this is the mountain with the four pillars or the 8 pillars in front of it, the 4 columns of flames. And this is a mind blower right here because it just validates everything we've been talking about. The Romans built a temple to Saturn that was located near the Capitoline Hill in Rome. It's actually 2.36 miles from the Vatican. The Capitoline Hill was formerly called Saturnius Mons or Saturn's Mountain. Okay, look at the stage. The temple was first begun in the 6th century BCE and was consecrated in 497 BCE. Even today, 8 of its tall, imposing columns are still standing near the Roman Forum. The Romans were devoted to Saturn and his temple. Okay, like the Romans believed that if they prayed and made sacrifices to their gods, the gods would do favors for them. Okay, at the first week we were talking about the mountain being just like a triangle and the portal to hell, but now we've been able to connect the dots even further to their Saturn worship, till this total solar eclipse. We're going to put in some pictures of how Saturn is depicted just so you can see. And again, something just to get back on the gematria, there's so much symbolism tonight. Travis Scott said he could never imagine imagine severity. Okay, now that's a big 93 in the Chaldean cipher. Okay, this is it, which is big for the magicians and whatnot, or wizards and warlocks, whatever you want to call them. This so this symbolism cannot be denied. Now, another one that we're going to add to is that we were talking about how Astroworld was released 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days. Guess what? There's a big 93 in that. It's 39 months and 3 days. So we have found out we have another 93 because the 3-9 and then the 9-3 for the 39 months in 3 days. It gets even saucier the way this goes. I mean, the number alignment, and that's why knowing the letters and numbers really pays off, because you can see the symbology, but when you need to know the why and the when, this is especially good for the when. This is letting you know why Travis Scott was picked for this, why it happened at Astroworld. It's just too much. They want us to be coincidence theorists. They want us to believe everything is a coincidence, but there is no coincidences. If you've read the drops, you understand this. And when we're looking at 39 months and 3 days from his Astroworld album drop. There is no coincidences, and a result of 1,191 days. Now, a big 119 is all CNI. Another 119 that's huge is ancient mystery religions. And that's what we're talking about, is that it's multiple religions. I'm not saying ancient mystery religion. This is ancient mystery religions. So all the old mystery religions from all the different times, from the Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Babylons, to this, to Isis, to Osiris, to whatever, that is the ancient mystery religions that these people worshiped, and they're still doing. They're just, every time you call them out on it, they go more underground, more underground. And then, you know, they've been showing themselves for the last, you know, umpteen years because of the confidence that you are sheep to them. They call us sheeple. We're talking about, you know, people that are marrying for nothing but power. There is no love. It does not work like that. Okay. You know, we're talking about, like, even when we're talking about these people are sick, that Q drop, or these people are stupid, excuse me. You know, when I was reading some Serial Brain 2 comments, he was talking about the real, like, you know, multi meanings exist in the Q drops, and these people are stupid. Also, you know, obviously that's the Democrats right now. That's, you know, Biden, that's Harris, that's Pelosi. But then when you think these people are stupid on another level, Q's talking about Nephilim, and that these people were not made like us, in God's children, and we'll cover that. It's very interesting. You know, we're having to, you know, the most powerful thing is being able to say, I know nothing. What I do know is I don't know, and I'm willing to learn, you know, and willing to figure out what they've been hiding from us. What, you know, it's in the Q drops. What is up is down, what is left is right. We're going to talk about that later tonight. It's Wizard of Oz programming. It's basically it's pretty simple, actually. And but here we go. Our next slide, we got some more Saturn stuff, and then we have 9-year-old boy among 3 in critical condition after Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival. And this was released at 22:05, and that is a number we've been made aware of, because when you add 22 plus 5, you get 27. 9 times 3, a hard 9 times 3. And remember, the police officer got 22.5 years for the George Floyd incident. You know, George Floyd's family got $27 million. The total solar eclipse is on a day that leaves 27 days left in the year. So real big number. So this is a video that's coming up right now that I want to play of Bill Cooper. And if we could play that real quick.
Ready when you are.
All right.
We have to be very careful about how we interpret what we read, especially the Bible. And I'll tell you why. When I research these secret societies, and I research the Bible, and by the way, I'm a Christian, so if you're a Christian, don't think I'm knocking your religion. I'm not. I'm just telling you what I found. I have found that at the very heart and core of all these secret societies lurks the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is the ancient Jewish mysticism. It is a method of encoding information through a system of mathematics and numbers. It is some of the most ancient knowledge that man has ever possessed, and has been kept secret and given only to those who have proven themselves worthy through the process of initiation. Nobody knows where it comes from. I can tell you this, it was there long before the Jews came along. The Jews just took it and preserved it, and they passed it down, and it's used by everybody, because it's at the heart and core of the secret knowledge, the metaphysics, the real science that none of us know anything about. These people that belong to the secret societies, never dared to write down in any language what they knew, what it was that they were guarding, because then someone could steal it and then the secret would be out. So they devised secret systems of encoding the secrets of the ages, the knowledge, the hidden knowledge, the occult. Now, occult doesn't mean evil. It doesn't mean the devil. It doesn't mean Satan. Occult means hidden. It means hidden. That's all it means. So they took this knowledge and they made it occult through a system of encoding, encryption, one of which is mathematics, numbers. Another is architecture. Everybody wonder, why do they have a fraternal organization called the Freemasons? Aren't those the guys that build walls? You bet they do. But every wall they build contains the secrets that have been kept and maintained throughout the ages, and it's encoded in the architecture and in the measurements of the buildings and in the mathematical formulas used to derive the geometry and the shape, the length and breadth and height of rooms. It's all encoded there.
And we will talk about some of the, we're even going to talk about tonight some of the mind control books they're using. Have the size of the book is encoded. It's pretty impressive. But what he's talking about and what we're going to talk about next is Kylie Jenner's birthday was on or is on the 222nd day of the year. This is August 10th, and Kylie Jenner's birthday is on the 222nd day of the year. Big occult number, 222, because as above, so below equals 222. Order out of chaos equals 222. Now, that's their MO, the order out of chaos. They're going to come cause the problem, and then they're going to come save the day and act like they're the savior saving the problem, even though they're the ones that started it. That's their order out of chaos. Okay. Now, days left in the year of Kylie's birthday, 143 days. 93 spelled out equals 143 in simple gematria. So we're talking about a C93 member for sure. And we are in our next, now, as you know, and she was there with her 3-year-old daughter, Stormy. Okay, what a name, Stormy. And she was 6 months pregnant. And look what's coming out of the top of the mountain at the show. So this isn't CGI'd. This is what we have found from these TikTok videos. There was so much more of this, but TikTok scrubbed it all before the show last week. So we've had to do some deep diving on different Twitter channels that had it and whatnot. But you can see what's coming through at the top of the mountain and at the base, the fire, that's that's what they're worshiping, and we're talking about the devil and Satan, but these people, they're really Luciferians. Okay. It's a Luciferian agenda. And we're going to hear it from Ronald Bernard. Okay. Cause this is going to play in, for later tonight, but see for yourself the imagery of the being coming through the fire at the top of Saturn's mountain above the portal from hell. Okay, it's not going in, it's coming out into the crowd. So if we could, for our next little break, we're going to play a Ronald Bernard, just about 10 minutes of this, if you could.
To put it carefully, most of these people followed a not very mainstream religion. So, you have Catholics, Protestants, all sorts of religions. These people, most of them, were Luciferians. And then you can say, religion is a fairy tale, God doesn't exist, none of that is real. Well, for these people, it is truth and reality. And they served something immaterial, what they called Lucifer. And I also was in contact with those circles, only I laughed at it because to me they were just clients. So, I went to places called churches of Satan.
So now we are talking about Satanism.
Yes. So, I visited these churches, just as a visitor dropped by. And then they were doing their holy mass with naked women and liquor and stuff. And it just amused me. I didn't believe in any of this stuff, and was far from convinced if any of this was real.
It was just a spectacle to you.
Yes. In my opinion, the darkness and evil is within the people themselves. I didn't make the connection yet. So I was a guest in those circles and it amused me greatly to see all those named women and the other things.
Omdat ik vond het allemaal wel leuk. Al die blote vrouwen en al die dingetjes die daar speelden.
It was the good life. But then at some point, I was invited, which is why I'm telling you all this, to participate in sacrifices abroad. That was the breaking point. Children.
You were asked to do that?
Yes. And I couldn't do that.
Would you like to stop for a moment, by the way?
No. And then I started to slowly break down. I lived through quite a lot as a child myself, and this really touched me deeply. Everything changed. But that is the world I found myself in. And then I started to refuse assignments within my job. I could no longer do it, which made me a threat. I was no longer capable of functioning optimally. My performance started to shake and I had refused tasks. I had not participated. The purpose of the whole thing, eventually, in that world, is that they have everybody in their pocket. You need to be susceptible to blackmail. And blackmailing me proved to be very hard if I look back on it. They wanted to do that through those children. And that broke me.
Is that, you are not telling me something new, what they also do in politics?
If you Google this, you'll find enough worldwide witness accounts to know this isn't a Walt Disney fairy tale. Unfortunately, the truth is that worldwide they have been doing this for thousands of years. I once studied theology, and even in the Bible you find references to these practices with Israelites. The reason the first 10 tribes were banished to Babylonia was because of these rituals with children, including the sacrificing of children. So this is pertinent. All this made me believe, because I realized there was more to life than meets the eye. There is a whole invisible world. It is real. You really do talk about a dark force and a manifestation of light. So, I resorted to studying theology to make sense of it all.
And psychology as well, if I remember correctly?
Yes, but that I did in my first life, because through commercial psychology, mass psychology, I was able to manipulate situations for my own benefit.
That is scary, because if you dig into that you find Tavistock Institute and mind control, MK Ultra, Monarch and the like.
Yes, that is correct, but that was all part of the job. Through training at the job, I got into that more deeply, because when you are making deals, you also need to manipulate the media. You have to manipulate lots of things because nothing can be seen as it is. Everything has to appear to be something different. You see the people as a flock of sheep. You put a couple of border collies and drive them in a direction. And to be honest with you, I still see that happening around me. People are still, through the systems and methods that we ourselves used to use, being treated in that same way, and it still works. People still don't understand how it really works and are still on the level of as long as I have my beer and whatever, completely self-absorbed, also a survival mechanism. I mean, it is the program after all. But you still see how stupidly easy it is to put people in a certain direction, when you are the one pulling the strings, that is.
Mass psychology.
Yes, and later, much later, in all those studies and discoveries, I found a document which they are claiming is bullshit, of course, the Protocols of Zion. And nowadays I recommend everyone to read the whole of that incredibly boring document. Just work through it, read it though.
We are also talking about Zionism.
Yes, of course. If you read the Protocols of Zion and really study them and understand, then it is like reading the newspaper of the daily life. How from their position of ultimate power, and ultimate it has literally become. But that is only because the people don't stand up for themselves. They don't realize what reality is.
And we have all been programmed. If you dare to say you are against Zionism, then you are branded an anti-Semite.
The negative, you can say evil, the Luciferians, the Satanists, whatever you wish to call it, it is a real entity. I have found that what is written in the Bible, and not just the Bible, you can find it in so many books. There really has been a moment of separation from the manifestation of light, in which a group went their own way and are carrying an intense hatred, anger.
All right, guys, thank you for listening to that. This is from a banker who was invited to child sacrifice after he was abused his whole childhood. Okay, they preyed on that fact that he was abused and got him to the highest parts, the highest of the high. But even at that level, they're gatekeepers. And how did they want to blackmail him? Through the child sacrifice, through their own sick, demented ways. Okay, they want us to be like them. They cannot be like us. Due to their bloodline, due to, they cannot. So they trying to trick us to be like them, to do the child sacrifice, to harm your children, just like they're doing with the trauma-based mind control, hence the Johnson & Johnson having asbestos in it, because the mother is the one putting it on the child. Okay, they're doing that, and we're going to talk in depth about it in the end. But after this, we're going to talk a little bit about Drake, because we're talking about the child sacrifice, and Drake, who is a defendant in the new lawsuit that was like 57 or 75 million dollars against Travis Scott and him. And it was kind of peculiar that it was 75 million, because moon equals 57, the opposite of 75. And we know what was going on there. But Drake loves the owl. And that's one thing we have been tipped off through Q and SB2. One of SB2's big things is how to calculate for the Y family, and how the owl represents what it represents, and why all these actors have it on them and whatnot. And the owl was the 13th letter in the Egyptian hieroglyphic was for the letter M. Okay, so basically in the Egyptian alphabet, the 13th letter was depicted as an owl, and that represents M. Okay, and you'll know at the Bohemian Grove, they have the huge owl where Alex Jones supposedly snuck into, and shows the big, there's a sacrifice that takes place. We'll show it later on, and it's this Moloch worship, okay, which is, and we're going to get into it after the show. Okay, we have Drake spending $1 million at a strip club after the Astroworld tragedy. So you're on stage with your buddy, and 8 people die. And remember, 8 people died, and then 1 person died following. Ritual is 81 backwards and forwards. 81 is a big ritual number. Now, also in reduction, ritual's 27, like a 9 times 3. But big time, and this Y is symbolized with the number 25. Y is the 25th letter. They've also stole the number 7, a very holy number. They've stole it because 2 plus 5 equals 7. It's a way to use the numbers against us. So as we're talking about Drake and his owl worship, we have some 93 dots that Patriot Angel picked up on. His song that was sung that night, first time ever performed on 5/11, most parts of the world written like that. He released it on September 3rd, a 9/3 or 3/9. Okay. And the reason is that 9/3 is also because Saturn 93 and then reduced 21. So you have your 93 and 21 in that date. And the name of the song is called Knife Talk. In reverse, Knife Talk equals 154. So where Z is 1 and Y is 2 and X is 3, all the way till A is 26, 93 and Knife Talk equal the same number. There's no coincidences when this happens. When you see this released on 9/3 and then Knife Talk equals 93, a direct cipher match in reverse ordinal, okay, this is on purpose. This is not a coinky dink or whatever they want you to think, or some people just think the gematria does not apply. You know, they're not looking into the Kabbalah. They're not looking into what they believe. It's not what we believe. It's what they believe. Okay. So now look at the symbol for his company, October's very own. The OVO makes the owl face. OVO. The O's are the eyes. The V is the beak. So now we have October's very own, his clothing company equals 93. Now, we can talk about this cipher real quick. It's the full reduction KV, and it does not reduce the master numbers. Okay, 11, a master number, 1 1. Okay, 22, the master builder number, 2 2. So it does not reduce. It reduces every other letter in the alphabet but K and V. Okay, that's why it's full reduction KV. The 2 letters that aren't reduced are K and V. October's very own 93. Now bring it back to our 4 base ciphers, how to connect the dots on the 93 for October's very own. In English ordinal, it is 219. Okay, you get your 21 and your 93 right there. So you get your 2 to the 1 is 3, and you get your 39, flip that for your 93, and you get your 21 in that too. 93, 21. That's Saturn right there in your face. Okay, now look at this coincidence. Guess what Drake equals? Just guess. Maybe you're I think you probably have your hand up guessing for that it equals 39 and 21. Okay? That's your big 93 and 21. Drake and Saturn are direct matches. Again, we do not care. They do not care that 93 or 39, backwards and forwards. As above, so below, backwards and forwards, right? Now, here is the picture that I got ahead of myself with of the Bohemian Grove, where they do the child sacrifice for the political and the elites. in the hunting of children. It's horrendous when you read, you know, some of the stories from victims. It's just crazy to know that this goes on in the woods of California. So, but what a coincidence. Drake equals 39 and 21 and was at that concert, right? Doing his new Knife Talk song, the first, you know, and he's a real pleasant guy. He's singing about knife talk, you know, maybe does he like to show knives and talk? I doubt it. Let's see. Um, you know, so obviously he's being sued with Travis Scott. You know, I hope that this is super effective. I hope some of this information can be used, especially this alignment, the poster symbolism. You know, the you know, we've been talking about this over and over again. You have the, you know, set death of Helena Hutchinson, Alec Baldwin born on the 93rd day of the year. You know, it was 201 days from Alec Baldwin's birthday, and 201 is Order of Illuminati in simple gematria. So Order of Illuminati is 201 and 93. Okay, and reduction. When you use the reduction cipher, you get 93 for Order of Illuminati. That's probably the biggest 93. Okay, besides the Saturn. And we're talking about the M and the Al right here. And remember, this is the Egyptian. Okay, their mythology has the Greek mythology, has the Roman mythology. Like the mythology is ancient mystery religions. So just imagine that all combined. And this dig that we were looking at talks about, you know, the how it's abolition of bull worship and the Egyptian god Montu. Okay, and it would manifest as a raging white bull with a black face. Okay, and it's that M. And when it goes on to the next generation, it was in the Hebrew Bible, it's Moloch. Okay, Moloch is a name or term which appears in the Hebrew Bible several times, primarily in the book of Leviticus. The Bible strongly condemns practices which are associated with Moloch. Go figure. Practices which appear to have included child sacrifice. So, again, wanted to just cover the Drake scenario. Why was Drake there? Drake was putting out this new song, Knife Talk, first time ever performed on 11/5, released on 9/3. Okay, and the name of the song equals 93 spelled out in reverse, the big 154. All right, so we got some definite connections right then and there. So, you know, these ancient mystery religions, it's going to take time for people to learn this, to figure, you know, and unfortunately we have to learn this if we do want the truths. That's for those who want to know. For those who want to know, they're going to have to pick up a few skills, learn a few things from these secret societies, what they've been holding back, how they've been harboring the information through encoding letters and numbers, and through the size of buildings and the amount of windows on a building. You know, if you've been here for other ones, we showed how the Pentagon had all the 77s, and Flight 77 hit it 77 minutes after flight. There's no coincidences when it comes to these numbers, guys. Big time number worshipers, big time. All right, we have a little excerpt from Bill Cooper right here. It's not that long, but this is some things that shows that Adam Weishaupt, who started the Illuminati, it wasn't the first time, that it existed before. That everything we're learning is that Pythagoras didn't come up with Pythagorean theorem, that he didn't come up with pi. He didn't come up with any of that. He learned it in Babylon. Okay, he learned it from magi's, from wizards and warlocks that hold the information. We are even learning, Bill Cooper said the other night, that Karl Marx was just a puppet, Hitler just a puppet. These, it's, you know, they get tasked to write things. I wonder if we're going to find out Aleister Crowley and the channeling of the books was just being tasked on bringing out this information. But they really did jump on it, and our politicians have adopted the 93 and whatnot. So we're going to hear from Bill Cooper himself right now. This is the Isis and Osiris broadcast that was on the 17th of February, 1993.
A learned Jesuit father sees in Typhon Cain and in his brother Osiris Abel. If such a parallel actually exists, then the biblical allegory is susceptible of the same interpretation. But you see, they have twisted everything around. Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Illuminati, was a Jesuit priest and a professor at Ingolstadt University, which is a Jesuit university. The Jesuit order was founded by Ignatius Loyola. He was the head of the Ilumbrados in Spain, which is the order of Illuminati long before Adam Weishaupt even came along. He was arrested by the Dominican monks under the Inquisition and used his power of association of those who had influence and power to beg an audience with the Pope. Now, nobody knows what occurred during this audience, but he emerged as the head of a new order called the Jesuits. Now, the Jesuits was just another name for the Ilumbrado, for he took his organization that he already controlled and made it into the Brotherhood of the Jesuits. The Jesuits went on to foment rebellion everywhere that they went, and the Pope gave them incredible power and made Ignatius Loyola immune to any prosecution from any source. And it was they who trained Adam Weishaupt, and it was Adam Weishaupt who formed the branch of what we all know as the Illumined Ones, known as the Illuminati in Bavaria, where he sent out agents to infiltrate the lodges of the secret societies throughout Europe. Now you will begin to understand this even more, folks, as we go along. Right now I understand how shocking some of this may be to some of you out there. But just hang on, continue to listen, because we have many, many more hours of this to go before it will all come together for you. But I would suggest that you begin study on your own. It doesn't matter if you get ahead of us, because you will always need some of the information that I'm putting out here, no matter how ahead you may get or what you already may know, simply because I've done well over 23 years of research into this, and I must know something that you don't know.
All right, guys, we heard it from Bill Cooper himself. We love to play Bill Cooper on this. He's an extreme patriot. If you haven't read Behold a Pale Horse or listened to the audiobook, definitely recommend it. He's unbelievable on his research. He's letting us know that what is up is down, what is left is right, even when they're coming out, you know, saying, hey, we were formed May 1st, 1776. This has been going on. You know, we're learning that the Knights Templars became the pirates. I mean, after they were being hunted, there's so much. Every time you think it's over, it's not. Now, we're going to read some Q drops with the owl in it. Their need for symbolism will be their downfall. Follow the owl in the Y head around the world. Identify and list. They don't hide it. They don't fear you. You are sheep to them. You are feeders. Godfather 3. Okay, next post. 189, identify symbolism, owl/Y, just like we did with Drake. Okay, Drake having the owl tattoo on him, the owl clothing line, OVO. Okay, which performers, celebs supported HRC during the election? Who performed during her rallies? What jewelry and or tattoos present? What other events do they attend together? What does HRC represent to them? Okay, is HRC a high priestess? Okay, what celebrities have all Y head symbols? What politicians have all Y head symbols? What powerful people have all Y head symbols? What powerful groups have all Y head symbols? And when you watch TV and commercials, if you do, you are going to see the all everywhere. And it's like having a new pair of glasses on. You really can see once you really start looking for it. Why are they worn, shown openly? Their need for symbolism will be their downfall. And that's why we're here, guys, is to show what we found and to hear what you found and to expand on this as a collective consciousness, to be aware of these symbols, to be aware of these spells that are being put upon us. Okay. And look, push conspiracy theory. That's their way to defend against any of this. And the spirit cooking and whatnot was, Q'd Up's a conspiracy theorist. Right. And right then and there, that's a bad connotation. They've programmed that in. Okay. This is, push conspiracy theory and institute new rules allowing for bans, censorship. The graphic is key. Okay, this is in this Q drop, it tells you all that you know to be right is wrong. What were they provided for obeying and staying silent? Brainwashed. Okay, like the cult runs the world. The world is fighting back and destroying the cult. So if you are here tonight listening, you are part of destroying this cult and in making a effort. Okay, because they have been whooping us. We do not know a life without this cult. It doesn't matter how old you are. When you go back to look and do your research, you're going to find we don't know a life that was not controlled by this cult. So, and this was one of the early 182s. What does the owl represent to certain cults? And we'll talk about that. We talked about Moloch and whatnot, the child sacrifice. So again, we're going back into more symbolism on the butterfly aspect that's going on between Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott. They both have a itty bitty butterfly tattoo on their leg. Okay, now we're talking about monarch mind control. We're talking about, just look at the Britney Spears. She has the dice tattoo with the same thing the guy has. I don't know if this is like a handler tattoo or whatnot, but we're going to look at the $60,000 butterfly gaudy necklace. I mean, that Travis Scott bought for Kylie Jenner, a $60,000 butterfly. And that's the monarch butterfly. It's the symbol for mind control, the monarch program. Okay. We would assume that Kylie would be Travis's handler in this case. So we're even looking, if you see, he brought her a painting. We have a picture of the painting being delivered. She's in the red roses. You got the triangle of the red rose, the thelemic red rose. Okay, you got the painting. You have the butterfly on the painting. These people are really obsessed with their programming. They can't help it not to be. And again, Now, this is some of the pictures in the Travis Scott butterfly video for the Butterfly Effect is the name of the song. Now, the butterfly effect is not what they're talking about. The butterfly effect is the monarch effect, the mind control effect. And obviously, they have this kid, Travis Scott, by the pinky and can take him anywhere he needs to be taken. He's obviously working for him to pull off this large ritual in front of the country and for everyone to see. So again, in this picture, he's being shocked. Okay. And again, this is one of the ways they letting you know they were in trauma-based mind control programs. The trauma-based mind control, it works a lot with shocking. Okay. They shock, there's flashing colors, loud noises, the drugs, the whatnot, but a lot of it is through electrocution. So we're gonna keep. Now I wanted to add this in here, and this is in a weird spot, but we're gonna cover it. We're talking about Saturn worshipers, and all of a sudden we get this picture of Adele with her Saturn tattoo. Okay, now she doesn't have the owl tattoo on her arm, but it's what we're talking about. She's in all black, the color of Saturn. Okay, the black cube represents Saturn, and she has the Saturn tattoo on her arm and Saturn earrings on. And I know this is a little off topic, but we're trying to show you their need for symbolism and how big it is. That Adele has the Saturn tattoo with the Saturn earrings, guys. So now we're looking at in the butterfly effect. They have the apple with the butterfly being bitten into, just like the first scenes in the Bible, Adam and Eve. Right? This is the original sin, but this is the apple has the butterflies on it. Okay, they are eating it up. They are showing this and this symbolism, which we're going to find out later on, the way it works, the music, the movies, it all reinstills the programming from when they were a child. Okay, the first 7 years of these children's life, they are highly programmable. Everything you say to a child under 7 is programmable. Delta and theta waves are absorbing everything you say. That's why we need to shower them with as much love as possible, and lift them up and not break them down, because those first, there's even some saying that the Jesuits use, like, show me the first 7 years of a child and we'll show you the man. Okay. It's all, the first 7 years are just crucial. Okay. And now we're going to get into some of more of the why symbolism and different ways to connect the dots to understand the 93 and to understand the why. In our first, this is Hussein, and this is going to be random decodes, but we're just trying to show you about dot connections and what you have to look for. That there's colors, just like, in this Hussein Giza pilgrim, he's in black and white, and the B and the W is a duality, right? It's the Masonic checkered floors. It's the duality, but in this case, he's showing off that B and W for the 25. Okay, the B equals 2, the W equals 23. That equals 25 when you add them together, and Y equals 25. So, and you will see how often Pythagoras is mentioned. And remember, he was, one of the first cult leaders. He had the Pythagoras cult. We've covered it in other GemComms. And we have some 93s and 27s, but I really wanted just to show you the Y family on that. Now we have with this red cross, okay, the R and the C. R equals 18. The C equals 3 for your 93. So, and again, World AIDS Day, the capital letters 23. and 4 is your 27, your WD. So it's the 27, you have your 93, and AIDS is 33, a huge Masonic number. Okay. It was, Jesus was sacrificed at 33 degrees, 33 vertebrae, big number. So again, the Red Cross, and look how HIV equals 39. Really, it's one of the ways you can see that this is, they create these diseases. It's through some of these connections. Now this one shows, let's see, as you can see, environmental scams are one of the ways socialism manifests at a global scale. And you can see in Al Gore's company in the middle of that page, it shows the generational investment management. Okay, and you get your 7 and 9 and 13, and you pull your 9 out, and then you take the 7 minus the 1 minus the 3 for your 93. Okay, 7 minus 4 is 3. You get your 93. So this is ways they have encoded 93 into everything they do. The reason I want to show you this is because just so you know how to connect the dots, and you can expand on this. And look, we're talking this decoded message as revealed by Fritz Springmeier. That's who we're going to be talking about later tonight. That's the author of the Bloodlines of the Illuminati, where we had found the Paysor. Okay, Matrix and Shady, found the Paysor through that book. Now we're talking about another book. I don't want to butcher the name till we get to it, but it's written by Fritz. And look, Fritz Springmeier revealed how adrenochrome is extracted from the base of the skull and sold as a very valuable drug on the Illuminati black market. Al Gore has become addicted to this drug and was caught in an airport carrying blood in a suitcase. Okay. And just remember that he, I'm sure no one has forgot that he was caught boarding a plane with a briefcase full of vials of blood. Okay, he wanted the original source. We've found other sources, and again, you won't find adrenochrome in any of the Q drops. Again, this is connecting dots. Okay, this is looking at research. And Fritz Springmeier is a great resource, and we will drop in the book later on tonight. Now, here's a 93 that came from Serial Brain 2, pizza in Enochian gematria. And remember, like Aleister Crowley was doing Enochian magic. Well, pizza in Enochian gematria equals 93. So that's not a cipher that's on gemantrinator.com, but that's a cipher used in witchcraft. We'll just put it to you like that. So, and some witchcraft sites have it on there for you to look up, just like yoga poses and some different things that they use in casting spells. Now, this is, let's see, the numbers in the date. All right. This is some 93s that were from POTUS that I wanted to show. This and this was the Immortal Queen equals 163. Okay, this was interesting because Helena Hutchinson, the one who died from Alex Baldwin, she matched 3 ciphers with Immortal Queen. So Helena Hutchinson that ritual seemed to be a Immortal Queen ritual, while this one seemed to be more of a Moonchild sacrifice ritual. Hence why Kylie Jenner was there and his daughter Stormy at 3 years old. Okay, and now let's see some other dots that were connected by Serial Brain 2. A huge one. I'm sure if you've watched the Matrix Groove show, you know that there was a delay in Q drops, 93 days. Okay. So Q had went dark for 93 days. He coded it in his silence from August 1st to November 2nd. And look how it was 93 and 6 hours and 2 minutes. So again, I'll expand on some of Serial Brain's work. It's the 93 days, and 62 is 93 in gematria, in reduction gematria. 93 spelled out equals 62. So Q's delta was 93 days, 6 hours, and 2 minutes, and 47 seconds, which is interesting because gematria equals 74. Okay. And with seconds, you wouldn't be able to go to 74 seconds. So the mirror of the 47 seconds could be looked at as a 74. Gematria equals 74. English equals 74. Occult equals 74. Jewish equals 74. Jesus equals 74. It's a huge number. Now, for some symbolism here, we have Q post 547, where the Pope is kissing the Rothschild's hand. Okay. And it's supposed to be the other way around, but we're learning by the symbolism who are the leaders. And this is the group of the leaders right there, the Rothschilds and the head of the Vatican, the first open Jesuit Pope. Guys, there's no coincidences. His name equals 201, just like Bill Cooper was saying, Ignatius of Loyola. Ignatius of Loyola equals 201, like Order of Illuminati, like the Jesuit order, the first open Jesuit Pope. He moved into apartment or suite 201, the first Pope to ever stay in suite 201. Okay, this is by the numbers. So, and this one was the thelemic number 93. If you're new here, this was a Serial Brain 2 about the book of the law and telling us about the 93 and how to look into the movies on the 1 hour and 33 minute movies, or the 93 minute, and 1 hour 33. They like that because it's a double. 13 times 3, 39. And it's 93 minutes. So it's your 93, like Thelema and Agape. Okay. We'll read it real quick. Aleister Crowley's teachings are excellent for all Satanists who wish to occupy the worst places of hell and their hereafter. Crowley's goal was essentially to unify all the roads leading to his master Satan through a minimized set of principles and accompanying rituals. His conclusion was to establish love and will as the ultimate cause, with will above love. This sounds interesting to entertain, at least philosophically, until you find out that will for him and his followers means the will of Satan, transmitted by the serpent when triggered through satanic rituals. And SB2 has triggered in all capitalized letters. Triggered equals 93. The number 93 symbolizes his doctrine and is used by Satanists to greet each other in plain sight, state their loyalty, and proudly manifest that they are in the know. Crowley's unification effort led most Satanists to believe that all secret societies, including Skull and Bones, Masonry, Rosicrucianism, Knights Templars, etc., are ramifications of his thelemic system. Tracking the number 93 in the media will reveal those who follow his teachings. Okay. Now, just with that tip from Serial Brain 2, and knowing that we have Drake with a new song being released on 9/3, we're understanding. Okay, you just outed yourself. We get it. We are understanding your symbolism now. We're understanding what you're practicing. And as a patriot, that's when you speak out. It's when you do not contribute. Do not, buy the CDs, no matter how bad your child would want it or whatnot. It's something that you have to put your foot down and really explain what is going on. Now, we were just talking about rituals, and what do we have? The moon child ritual are the rituals to demonize a fetus. Okay, now who was there with a fetus? Kylie Jenner. Okay, she was there with a 6-month in utero baby, right? The 3-year-old's there, Stormy. They made a point to let you know they were there. However, the demons that are invoked are not the small ones, but very powerful ones. In working with victims of this programming, it is clear that high-level demons were placed within these people at very early ages. Maybe like 3, maybe like 6 months in the belly. Okay, just, you know, there's no coincidences, guys. It is believed many of them were demonized before they were born by rituals like the moon child rituals. Blood sacrifices and human sacrifices are always required for this level of magic. Okay, so what we're witnessing was a satanic sacrifice, total solar eclipse sacrifice, but we also have to look at this as a moon child ritual. Okay, I hate to bring it up, but this is one of the things we had discovered and the dots we have connected this week from last week's show to this week's show. We did not know this information last week, but just wondering, why would a 3-year-old be at this festival? Why Kylie at 6 months pregnant, right? 6, 9 minus 3 equals 6. It's a big number. Remember, we've taught about the number 126, how 126 is 9 plus 3 for your 12, 9 minus 3 for your 6. Okay. Now, and this was an actual book by Aleister Crowley. Now, this is a manual, okay? Basically. So it the actual rituals carried out to create a moonchild are described in detail in 3 of Crowley's writings. Okay, so it's more, but there's just one book titled Moonchild, and I want you to look at that. It was this was a little snippet taken, but this was, now the next moonchild we're going to talk about is Aleister Crowley's daughter. Okay, had passed away recently. She was the mother of one of our presidents. Okay, it gets really deep, and we're going to get into some of the Barbara Bush and some of our other episodes. We have covered the impregnation of Barbara Bush, being that there's very highly likely that this happened on 9/3. If you take her birthday and go backwards, the gestation period of a baby, you get it's right smack dab around 9/3. And he had taken her overseas, her mother overseas or whatnot, to do the ritual. But let's read it right now, because this was on the boards, and this was originally put out by Neon Revolt. But don't worry about the messenger, it's the message. Spirit cooking refers to a magical ritual called drawing down the moon to conceive a moon child at a specific place and time chosen for astrological reasons. Okay, astrological reason, total solar eclipse is 4 weeks and 2 days. On the 309th day of the year, for the time, the place, Houston, where the next total solar eclipse after this one that happens in 4 weeks and 2 days from this event crosses right over Houston. Okay, we're really getting into the meat of things, guys. Excuse me, I had to take a little sip. The moon is the light bearer of the night, or in Latin, Lucifer of the night. In other words, Satan. The idea is roughly that Satan is summoned to possess the man rather like voodoo possession, and Satan, can't say that, the Holy Grail, which, we understand what the Holy Grail is. It is the vagina to them. It's the girl leading to the womb, the cup where the semen and blood mixed. If you've read any of Crowley's things, they mix all the fluids together. That's I think they call it the cake of light. It's disgusting, but it's what they do. It's in their rituals. We have it in some of the manuals and whatnot. And even in the manuals, I've gotten pictures of and whatnot. I mean, there's adults there and children. I mean, it tells you in the manual, all right, bring the children in. Like, it's horrible, guys. In my eyes, at least. But we know for sure that Barbara Bush was a moon child conceived by Aleister Crowley. Okay. And this guy suspecting that Barack Obama was also. And when you think of that, he's a high priest in this cult. And if you haven't seen that episode from LK Dark Delight or the Serial Brain 2 decode that LK Dark Delight put in a video form, it's definitely something to check out. Hussein, a Cult 93 high priest. So another interesting thing that I like about this thing was it made me think. It says the Georgia Guidestones give an outline of how a natural world order would function, because we're still looking for what N means. If N for the New World Order doesn't refer to Nazi, could it be natural world order? Could it be Nephilim world order? I don't know. We're trying to figure it out, guys. But here we go. Much of this plan has been kept secret from the sheeple, or they will not consent to it. Therefore, since this is real conspiracy, some veil must be created to entangle anyone who stumbles on their work in progress. This is called conspiracy theory or a conspiracy theorist. When anyone raises the issue of a conspiracy, they are branded a conspiracy theorist, and by means of predictive programming, the sheep have been conditioned to recognize a conspiracy theorist as a crazy nutcase who you can simply ignore. My brother is under this programming for sure. All right. Marina Abramovich is one of the high priestess at the heart of this conspiracy because she is a specialist in summoning Satan and doing the Moonchild ritual. Could that be why Drake was there to help along? Okay. But again, we're trying to break this conspiracy spell and whatnot. And we're going to talk about another moon child that was just born, was Luna Simone Steffens, Chrissy Teigen, and John Legend's kid. Okay. One of the ones that was constantly performing for Obama was John Legend. I mean, everything was Beyonce and John Legend, like no coincidences that it was them too, and that they're all down with this. So Luna meaning like moon, and you get your moon child. Now, one about Barbara Bush that I really liked was when she passed, George W. Bush declared her birthday Selena Day in Texas. Okay. And Selena Day that year coincided with Easter, and it had some Americans offended, but really, Selena is a girl's name of Latin origin, meaning moon goddess. So again, they hide everything, make us connect the dots. They, remember, there's one message for us and one for the adepts, one for the people in the know and one for us to read. So you would just say, it's Selena Day. George W. Bush declared it, but there's always something deeper when it comes to these people, just because of their symbolism, because of their training and or mind control issues. But the Barbara Bush 69 math problem. Aleister Crowley's satanic ritual required Pauline Pierce's daughter full name to match 99. 99 is, if you spell out 13, it equals 99. Just a little heads up. Barbara Pierce's satanic destiny was to fulfill her 666 personal prophecy and significantly advance the Cult 93 agenda by marrying George Bush. Remember, follow the wives Q post? She went from 99 to 93 and secured her first 6. So 99 minus 93, you get your 6. She was left with the 2 9s and figured out that if she could invert them, she would manifest her life quest 666. She coded the inversion of these 2 9s in the 4 flight numbers, groups leading to perfect squares, and the last occupied seat row numbers. So this is complex, but just to show how much thought is put into this, how, that we're talking, how this, we're going to just keep on reading how this, 9/11 was putting into action way before, this wasn't decided a month before 9/11 or a year. Barbara Bush loves her mind. She thinks it's beautiful and should not be wasted thinking about people dying and suffering. Now, we're talking about a woman who kept an abortion in a glass jar and showed it to her sons. We have the video of George Bush talking about this. So she codes 93 in the sequence 4 squared, 5 squared, generated from the digit sum of the flight numbers grouped by airlines. It's a hint at Masonic teachings and shout out to Pythagoras, who is considered by many to be the founder of the first secret society. Pythagoras also loved his mind. He loved it so much that it reported he drowned his disciple, who discovered there was a triangle whose 3 sides could not be represented by a ratio of integers, hence mercilessly destroying Pythagoras' belief in the only existence of rational numbers. So, again, guys, it's 93 everywhere. It's Y everywhere. And here's one about the Y right here with the 144. And the 144 is your 72 plus 72, and you get your 72s are an angle that's in the pentagram. Okay, in the triangles on the pentagram is your 72 72. You also have 108, you can see right there. It's just something to look for. It's just showing you how complex this esoteric occult knowledge is and how much work we have ahead of us in learning. Okay, India provides the connection between DTAA, DNA, and data. 9/11 was a Cult 93 operation that started with an Aleister Crowley satanic ritual causing the birth of Barbara Bush, solidified by her husband George H.W. Bush when he was president, and fully executed by her son George Bush in 2001. In addition to the mass trauma and the related sorcery, mind control, wealth, and power gain through the import of satanic entities into our dimension, the purpose was to access our DNA information to carry out a global genetic hybridization program to enslave mankind and to enthrone family Y as our internal masters. Okay, that's a heavy decode, guys, but it is very, very important. So, next little slide is just the flight numbers and the row numbers to do their Y, just to show you how complex it is. And some of the advanced dots that Serial Brain 2, who is, I am not Serial Brain 2. I am a student of Serial Brain 2 and Q, and have humbled myself to saying what I don't know. What I do know is I don't know. And that is when you really gain your power back and can really learn what the occult has been doing and whatnot. So before we get into this next part of the show, I want to read this. This is the beginning of the book. The book we're going to be covering after this is the how. All right. We talked about the why, and that was, the Drake and the owl symbolism, the Moloch, the child sacrifice, the moon ritual. But how do they accomplish this? These brazen acts. Well, it is through monarch mind control, and the best thing to look up or to read about this is by Fritz Springmeier. Okay, and this is the Illuminati formula to create an undetectable total mind control slave. And before we play our first little video, during this video, I'm going to read this. And if you feel like this fits you, this is your time to bow out and just listen. It says, warning, read this first before reading the book. If there is any chance you, the reader, have had mind control done to you, you must consider the following book to be dangerous. If you are consulting a therapist for DID, also known as multiple personality disorder, it is recommended that you consult your therapist before reading this book. Basically, it can trigger alters, guys. If you have multiple personality disorder, this is the time for you to end the show. The complications that could result for those under mind control learning the truth could be fatal, and you'll learn why, because they put a suicide program in, they put all this. The co-authors take no responsibility for those who read or misuse this information, and I take no responsibility either. Just adding that in there. The Matrix Groove channel show doesn't. This is just organic digging. This is reading. Matrix owns this book. It's we're going to show you a picture of it in a little bit. The reader's mind is like a garden. It may not be time to plant the truth in your mind. Hint, hint, Q. Timing is everything. Perhaps you need some weeding or ground preparation before the garden of your mind is ready. Perhaps the weather is too stormy to plant the truth. Pray to the Lord of the harvest. The blessings that flow from planting the information of this book in your mind will require the presence of living waters of love. If you do not have love in your heart, this book is not for you. Meaning, do not read this or take this information that I am sharing with you or pointing you to and use it to go make you a mind control slave. Okay, we're going to give you the link to this. If you do not fit if you have love in your heart and you want to understand how this is done, then this is for you. If this is not, then as we play this video about Anika Lucas, if you do have multiple personality disorder, please exit voice now, and we are going to show a little something talking about that's going to verify some of Fritz's work about how this abused victim was sex trafficked, and when she was saved, she was sent to a MK Ultra like facility in Germany. And we will listen to that. I'm gonna take a sip of water, and then we will get in to finish the show with this monarch mind control, and it will be from the book The Illuminati Formula to Create an Undetectable Total Mind Control Slave. Okay, we have a link for you. It's extremely interesting. I can't stop reading it. It's amazing. The human body is amazing. It's very interesting. So, but right now we're going to play a little Annika Lucas on forgiving her mother, who sold her to a pedophilic sex trafficking ring.
At the age of 5, 6, my mother began to traffic me into a murderous pedophile network, which was run by the political and the business elite of Belgium. Children were brought into this network through pimps, usually. Initially, there was a pimp for me as well, and then my mother took over from that pimp. I was one of the what's called expendables. I didn't know that term, of course, but I knew that my life was worth absolutely nothing. At age 9, I was trafficked outside of the country and taken to different places, to Switzerland, France, and then to the United States. And one particular very well-known, very powerful man took a liking to me and then had me trained in Germany in what in the United States would be called MK Ultra, but it's that kind of program that was put into in Germany for a month, torture-based, to make me into a child sex slave, spy, killer. That was to be my journey.
So she's letting you know she is being brave and courageous and sharing her grief with us and pain. It was a horrendous childhood, just like we talked about with Ronald. Ronald was abused till 9 years old. The school found out. They put him in a Catholic monastery or orphanage, and it went from being beat by his father to being the priest loved kids, okay, and they raped him every day, and he became an animal. He was ready to hurt anyone and anything until you heard earlier about his awakening when he was asked to sacrifice a child and how he broke the spell and came out of it. But on this, we have Monarch mind control codes, and Alpha is basic programming. Now, that's what she went through in Germany. And in this Fritz Springmeier book, it tells you the Illuminati went to Germany and Italy to further the Monarch programming, to take it from more of, at first, the MK Ultra was more of a satanic deal with just trauma based. They refined it and made it a scientific deal. Okay. And again, I was listening to Terrence McKenna the other day, and Terrence McKenna was saying there's a lot of demonology in science. And I just want to bring that up. But these are the different things. You have an alpha, a beta, which is, everyone probably has known that, a beta sex kitten, basically, programming that makes you extremely sexual, and makes you be able to be a prostitute, right? So they can prostitute you. The delta is an assassination. The omega for internal computers. Gamma for demonology. Okay, which looks like Travis Scott got some of that gamma in him. He loves it. He really loves it. Now, and the theta, the psychic warfare. And one of the things that I was reading in here that blew my mind was, because I love to listen to Manly P. Hall, and Manly P. Hall, per Fritz Springmeier, it was a theta programmer for the Illuminati for psychic warfare. It's in this book. You can check it out. I might be able to drop it in, but it's hard for me to go back and forth. But when you look, and then there's Zeta for the snuff films. Okay, there's even Catholic programming. All right, there's so much on this. The Janice Alex callbacks, that's your end times programming. You got your Tinkerbell, which is a never grow up or alien type programming, which I'm always going to be. You're going to find the programming movies start with Disney. So we're going to talk all the Disney movies. First thing, have programming in them, but it's also, we're going to talk about the decode of Disney is a distraction. And the Q drop was Q drop 144, and that's the one that says Patriots don't sleep. 40,000 foot view necessary to understand U.S., Saudi Arabia, global events. Paint the picture. And that's what we're here trying to do. Paint the picture. And Q even says decrease altitude. We will not fly that high again. Higher the altitude, greater the risk of conspiracy street. Okay. So we are, many cannot and will not swallow. And that's okay. It's not your time. If you're not understanding it, it's okay. Timing is everything. We're just planting seeds. So when you see it with your own eyes, you have the aha moment. But Disney is a distraction. And in this, it tells you how, in this book, it tells you how they use the Disney movies. So when the child is being traumatized, it has a place to go. So they first, they love bomb the child for 3 years, and then they start abusing them. Like, it's that love to direct hate. Even that lady that was sold, she said she had 3 years of love from a maid or cleaning lady, and then it went then the next maid that came in was her first pimps from 3 to 6 years, 5 or 6, and her mother took over back over at 5 to 6 years old. So, and she was talking about The Spy, and they, in this, when you go through all this, and we're not going to cover this in depth due to the trigger warnings and some people not knowing if they are programmed or not. There's some people, according to this, that have lived their whole life programmed from birth to death and never known their core self because of this. So this is extremely interesting on how they could pull off this moonchild ritual, this total solar eclipse ritual right in front of our face. And in this super spy ritual, it says they create good Christian fronts with Illuminati dark altars who can see what the Christians are doing. So basically, we're talking about Nancy Pelosi being a Catholic, Joe Biden being a Catholic, okay, but he's pro-abortion. And then we're supposed to believe the Pope, if the Pope is a Catholic, told Joe, hey, it's okay, you can take communion. All right, it doesn't work like that. It's just making up your own rules. They always move the goalposts. It seems like, again, in that situation, that was a move the goalpost for old Joe. So, we're gonna they can create in one person. They can have a spy, switch that person from a spy to an assassin with a hand signal or a flash of light, a certain color or music. And from assassin, they can leave, call their handler, and then the handler can install a suicide program where they kill themselves. I mean, we're talking about programming so intense that if you try and tinker with the program, they are programmed to call their handler, and they won't know they're telling they're outing somebody that was trying to help them, but it's actually just that deep and that complex, and it's worth the read, but again, there's a warning about whatnot. So Disney is a distraction. The movies distract the child and disassociate, brings it, when the child disassociates from the trauma, it can go into these fairy tale worlds, okay, into these movies they've seen and whatnot. So besides the Disney as a distraction, we also have some Q drops with Looking Glass. And if you might have to scroll down to get them, but I found this interesting. And this is an Alice in Wonderland programming. And this was the Queen of Hearts is also an important figure for commands in the Looking Glass world, which the slave enters upon command. When a deep slave altar is needed to perform, they are sent into the Looking Glass world, where a Looking Glass person carries out the command. but in a way that reality is thought to be a dream. In other words, this is a preparatory command to get the slave ready for abuse. Okay, this is one of the reasons when they, when children come back and say, oh, this was happening, that was happening, and it sounds far out, it's the programming they've put in to ensure they don't get caught. It would sound something like we went to the prairie or this or that. And so if you could drop that in the with the Q drops, and I'll read it, I'll scroll down. And it's projection. It's Q post number 9. And I do understand Q post 3585 project looking glass and what that is. But remember, multi meanings exist. Okay, so we're looking at Q post number 9, projection. D's can't lose control over the black population. At some point, the Great Awakening will occur whereby these false local national black leaders are corrupt and paid off to help keep the black population poor and in need. Okay, I believe it was iPod did a Sir Patrick, he did a great one on the boule, okay, on the black boule. All right, Kobe Bryant was boule. LeBron James is boule. Very, very interesting. He put tons of work in it, amazing work on the boule. So D's formed the Confederate States against freeing slaves. Democrats formed the KKK. HRC's mentors, who that was the head of the KKK, it was Senator Byrd, which happens if the truth about Haiti is released. Do Democrats lose majority of the vote? Through the looking glass. All right, that is what we're looking at, through the looking glass. So with Q post 9, now as we go to this book on how the Illuminati creates an undetectable total mind control slave, we see that Alice in Wonderland programming involves a looking glass world. Okay, and I'm not reading the shout letters because some of that is programming. It says this is the wording to use deep altars. So I'm not reading that because we don't know, and you don't know, that this programming's so good and so thick if you're under it. And I'm not trying to trigger anybody or harm anybody. I love each and every one of you and want the best for this country and this world. And that's the last thing me, P, and Patriot Angel, and Matrix, and Shady, and LK, and everybody involved would want. You know, that's why we gave that warning to exit if you had the multiple personality disorders or whatnot. And one of the reasons I'm not reading some of the sayings is due to that. So again, this is something interesting that I had found, and I just because it's next up in line, we're going to talk about it. The Tall Book of Make-Believe. This book was published by Harper and Row in 1950 and was indeed tall, the pages being 4 inches times 9.5. Okay, you add your 1 and your 2, you get your 93. 493. We've been talking about how they'll use the number 4, FUR, interchangeable with FOR. They'll use the number 2, TWO, interchangeable with 2. And we can remember that it was the Beirut blast or bombing was on the 217th day of the year. It was, if I remember correctly, on 8/4 for Obama's birthday. Okay, a high priest birthday was when that Beirut bombing happened. The explosion at the shipyard or whatnot. If I hope I'm saying that right, if it is Beirut. If not, I apologize. Now this one, the use of fiction. This one's going to be a little hairy because this is the Wizard of Oz programming. And it suggests that the Wizard of Oz had an important part in the occult world all along. One of the secrets of the mystery religions, with an S, religions, multiple ones, especially the Egyptian Isis mystery religion, was the ability to use drugs and torture to create multiple personalities. That's what we're talking about. Trauma-based mind control to fracture the mind and install all kind of alters into the person. Okay. The word Oz is known to have been used by its author as an abbreviation for Osiris. Monarch victims have the golden penis of Osiris placed into them. Sorry, I kept reading. And again, we're not going to go too far into this, but I did want to cover this. These are serious hints that the occult world didn't stop programming people with dissociative stages and triggers when the ancient Egyptian empires fell. Now, instead of using modern lingo such as hypnotize, they would cast a spell. Later, in Freemasonry, the right worshipful master would charge an initiate, meaning hypnotize. And they always do this. They always use language against us, and they project that the right does it to the left. But really, this is the occult's MO. If you've ever heard the George Carlin, where George Carlin's telling us, hey, first it was shell shock. Next, it was battle fatigue or whatever. And then it went to PTSD. And they soften the language to where you have no connection, to where if it would have remained shell shock, everyone would have understood what it meant. And we're seeing it in modern day time on this beautiful 17th of November. We're seeing some Virginia guy talking about pedos as a map, minor attractive person. Okay, they understand that everybody's at the pedo is at the pedo's throats and want it to be stopped. So what do? They're trying to soften the language, change the term. It's just a minor attractive person. He's attracted to minors. She's attracted to minors. Well, no, we're never going to forget what that is. And that's what they're trying to do with that. When you see that, that is them just softening up the language. So, now this Wizard of Oz programming is so impressive because it really teaches you to believe the opposite of what is real. The guy that had no brain really made the decisions. It goes. The one who saved the day was the little girl. It's really interesting and it's worth the read. But again, this is for those who want to know. So, if you're interested in that, like I am, it's a great read. It's very interesting. And now, if you could start dropping in some of the symbolism of Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott's video with the butterflies, we've shown the butterflies earlier, and remember, it's monarch mind control, like monarch butterfly. The name of the Travis Scott song was The Butterfly Effect, which they've made up a butterfly effect, but in real, it's talking about the monarch programming effect. So now, if Passant could drop in those little symbolisms for you to watch for and whatnot, it's interesting. And we're going to end up this show on a little something. Oh, we got the former Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley backs Astroworld satanic sacrifice theory. So they have one of their own coming out backing this satanic sacrifice theory. And it's not a theory. We have the numbers aligned with the total solar eclipse. We have the poster for the show showing a total solar eclipse. We have the flower that smells like death. Okay, there's no coincidences that this happened. And they bank and hope you're going to write this off to coincidences. Now this is what we're going to end the show with. This was something pretty interesting to me. Is after 9/11, which we know was a Y family Cult 93 deal, there was a plane crash, the second biggest plane crash in our country's history. Okay. And it just happened to take 260 lives, 5 on the ground. Now, 260 is the opposite of 62. Okay. 93 spelled out as 62 in reduction. And the second biggest air crash in our history happened 62 days after 9/11. Okay. Or 2 months and 1 day. There's these numbers that you can look at. Flight 587, and 587 is the 107th prime number. Just like we had the fall of Cabal on the 487th birthday of the Jesuits, which is the 93rd prime number. Okay. And fall of Cabal in Jewish equals 93. Now, it just happens that 260 people die 62 days, 8 weeks and 6 days. Like blood sacrifice is 86, human sacrifice is 86. The 2 months and 1 day is your big 21. You know, Moon 21, Jesuit 21, Saturn 21, big number. And this happened on the 316th day of the year. And the interesting thing about the 316th day of the year is John 3:16. It's a good day to teach that when you break it down into Hebrew, when you take Jesus Christ and convert it into Hebrew and put the Hebrew into the Gematria calculator, you get the value of 316. And there's no coincidences. That's when John 3:16, that's why the scripture of John 3:16 is what it is. He had sent his only son, Jesus Christ. Okay, Jesus Christ equals 316 in Hebrew. And again, you know, we've shown on this show before that some things have been lost in translation and been hidden from us, like the Jewish people practicing that they teach us that God, you know, formed the heaven and earth first, the heavens and earth first. And then we're learning, lost in the translation of Hebrew was the alphabet was created first, that it needed the letters and numbers to create the heavens and earth, to speak it into existence. And we had brought in a pastor talking about that, if you remember. Now, this is this New York AG, this lady, and you know, she's real concerned about abortions. They're trying to get rid of abortions in Indiana. She's the New York AG, and she's fighting for abortions in Indiana. Just a little out of place, but exposing themselves. So our last little thing, in quotes, Dominican Airlines cope with lasting impact of Flight 587. Lasting impact, italicized. And when you type it into the calculator, you get your 144, which we were tipped off to in the earlier Serial Brain 2 post, is a Y family for the 72, the two angles of a triangle that come off a pentagram. And also what I teach is it's a 12 times 12, 12 squared. 9 plus 3, 9 plus 3. Remember, when they greet each other, they say 93, you respond with a 93. It's a 93, 93. And lasting impact, 207 in reverse ordinal and 81 in reverse full reduction. And ritual equals 81, 27, 81, and 45. So go figure that lasting impact was 207 and 81 in those ciphers. Again, we're just trying to connect the dots because we've learned from Bill Cooper, from Serial Brain 2, from all these great adepts that there's the newspaper, the media has one message, the internet has one message for the normies, and then one message for the adepts, for themselves. Okay. And one of the first things that Passant and I figured out was, the capital letters to the right to the left of some of these articles. When it was a murder, they would leave it 187. There was two women who supposedly drove off the ferry and then were in the back seat hugging each other in the ferry. And when you took all the capital letters that started the paragraphs on the left-hand side, it equaled 187. So that message is, hey, to a normie, you're going, wait, she drove off the bridge and then both of them were hugging in the back. What a coincidence. They must have fought for their life and then gave up and just hugged in the back of the vehicle. No, the article let you know if you're an adept or can see through the BS or do the letters and numbers that it was an actual murder. That, no one drives off and jumps in the back of the seat hugging each other. So again, guys, thank you all for being here. I really, really appreciate it. We are wrapping up our 20th GemComms show tonight. We have 98 participants here. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'll be here to answer them for a few minutes. Again, I know this information is heavy. It's why we put on the full armor of God. Remember the Serial Brain 2 decode talking about when you say the full armor of God, you are opening up portals for angels to come through to help you. So it's very important. If you're feeling overwhelmed with the information, feeling overwhelmed when you're reading something or researching, stop what you're doing and put the full armor of God on. Our words are just as powerful as them doing their demonic tones, frequencies mixed with their blood magic. There's things we can do to fight against this. And one of the biggest things is putting on the full armor of God. So with that little bit of knowledge, guys, I hope this was an enjoyable show for you. Thank you so much for being here. And if we got any questions, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you all.